It was in Bakhmut. Close contact, bone-to-bone combat. The enemy refused to surrender, had to be liquidated. You won't see that anywhere else. Let's just say no movie will show it. This job is definitely not for everyone. In this episode, we will show you from the first person how the combat operations look like in urban areas and forests, and about the specifics of these battles, and about this combat experience of encountering the occupants. We'll tell a Belarusian volunteer warrior fighting in the Ukrainian army. My name is Dan. I work in the assault unit of the Volat battalion. We are cleansing the Ukrainian land from the Russians. How are you? Now I'm fine. In the beginning, the war was different. We used to borrow helmets, armored vests, and RPGs from each other to go on a mission. Now, in terms of supply, in terms of planning operations, we have reached a completely different level. In more than a year and a half in the war, if you're still alive, you're either damn lucky, which is rare, or you've already gained professionalism. So you learn how to fight better, and you learn how to start fighting at a whole different high level. You climb up there, and I'll pass it on. I'll pass you the RPG. Come on, move, move. I think I hit it right on them. Nice one. Good shot. Easy, easy. Keep your voice down. Okay, bro. This is the footage from Bakhmut. This was all happening in the private sector of Bakhmut, where we were holding an observation post and inflicting fire damage on the enemy. There we were constantly under assault by the enemy. I remember that in those days, orcs fired everything they could at us. They used SPGs, mortars, large caliber machine guns on our positions. They fired from the buildings above us, the ones the enemy had managed to occupy. It turns out that they were sitting above us, and we were like targets in a shooting gallery, and we had to withstand this heavy shelling. And in their intervals, we had to fire back to hold this observation post. From the footage, you can see for yourself that everything there has been turned into brick crumbs. We held these observation posts for 2 days and did not let the enemy approach because we were technically better armed. We used thermal imagers, night vision devices, that is. We were technically superior to the enemy, so we did not let them crawl up, even at night, until the moment when a shell hit our positioning point. Well, it was a dilapidated building with a summer kitchen where we had our ammunition and from which we were keeping watch. There was a clear hit there, and it was good that nobody was there at that moment. And the rest of the building just burned down. Damn it, burned down our post. After that, we just stayed in the basement and controlled the area from there. We need to go higher up there to listen. Just be quiet. Let me go in there. No, don't go out. Stay against the wall. They're not far away. Some of these most vicious and toughest fights take place in urban settings. These are urban fights. That is, when the fire contact with the enemy sometimes occurs at a distance of 15 to 20 meters. And it often happens when in the private sector, in this house, there may be orcs. And here in the neighboring house, there are our fighters, and there is just a firefight. There is a tough gun battle. It was Bakhmut. These are the moments that will forever remain in my memory. And of those very tough and very tight close-range battles with the enemy. And here, in such fights, such a concept as professional deformation manifests itself. If you want to draw a person's attention, then here you do it like this. And you show him something. That's communication in urban combat. And if we talk about moving around in the forest belt or moving on a special mission, especially at dusk or at night, it's different there. There you can call out to a person by just rubbing your hands together. A seasoned warrior will immediately take notice. And you'll be able to communicate using gestures, and whispering in war is a common practice. We have been engaged in reconnaissance operations for a long time. We covered a huge kilometer on the territories beyond zero. That is, on the territories occupied by the enemy, in the rear of the enemy. Therefore, talking in a whisper, moving from heel to toe, trying to be small and inconspicuous, with a reduced silhouette, all the time not making noise. Communicating with gestures is a military habit. Yes, of course, it's different when there's an open assault and the enemy already knows that you are there. Then you have to give more commands. Correct your commands more. Explain more what you are doing so that the soldiers next to you understand. Then you comment every move you make in your voice and loudly. For example, reload, cover, grenade, exit, air, and so on. You just yell it out. Coming! This is not assault in the full sense of the word. An assault on a forest belt is when M113s arrive and shoot everything tightly with the large caliber machine guns, and then infantry flies in and clears everything from the enemy. Our task was more pinpointed. We entered in 3 small groups. For example, there is a piece of forest belt, 100 by 500 meters, 100 meters at its widest point, 40 meters at its narrowest, and half a kilometer long. And this whole forest belt is actually dotted with Russian dugouts and trenches, and is always very serious mining there. And so, after the reconnaissance by drones, after the artillery fire, after the AGS strikes, people come in to clear out this forest area from the enemy. We're the people who go in there, and we have to clear every dugout and make sure that there is no more enemy left there. Of course, we have frequent fire contact with the enemy. Assaulting trenches and dugouts. That is, fortifications that are located in the forest belt and well camouflaged, is always close fire contact. It's a bone-to-bone battle. There are casualties on both sides, unfortunately. It's hard work, but somebody has to do it. Come out with your hands up. Come out with your hands up and you'll live. Surrender. We, let's say, fell into a prepared trap. The enemy led us as close as possible and then got into a small arms fight with us, which they could not withstand. Several dozen times we offered them to surrender, but they refused, so they were eliminated. We even had reinforcements coming up to them, which we also destroyed. We unfortunately had 2 wounded, one of whom was severely wounded. Guys, control the perimeter. Make sure no one gets out. Come on, pull it here. Guys, we got orcs coming our way. You hear that? There's more orcs coming our way. They're closing in. About 70 meters. In the work of reconnaissance, in the work of stormtroopers, there are no identical or similar tasks. Each task is unique. You approach each task as if it were your last, because this is war. And you know, the fact that I'm sitting here looking at the camera right now, that my legs and arms are in place, I'm sometimes even surprised by that, because the density of fire in assault operations is off the charts. You don't see that anywhere else. Let's just say that no movie will show it. You go on every mission with the most heightened attention and feelings, with the clearest possible mind and a very powerful attitude. Otherwise, it's impossible to do such a job. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like me to continue doing episodes like this next, then let me know by hitting the like button and leaving a comment. You can support the author by the details in the description. Thank you.